Hello, everybody, and welcome to another great episode of the Gridiron Glory podcast. Tad and Will here covering all 32 teams all season long in the NFL. We're here to talk to you today about a matchup that took place in Week 11 between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. Easily the best historical rivalry in the NFL all time. And it once again, in a meeting of these two franchises, lived up to its hype. And getting things rolling, Jordan Love led his team down to a pretty good drive, and the Packers took the 7-3 lead for quite a while here. And then obviously, the Bears definitely showed a lot of grittiness in the second half. Being able to go out there and take a 13-7 lead, but then Jordan Love able to go out there and make some dynamic plays, and overall 13-17, 61 yards, a touchdown, an interception, one interception. And then obviously that, touchdown to where Josh Jacobs ran it in. And then obviously the touchdown catch by Jaden Reed as well was a big play. And this was just a disappointing game. How it ended up all for Chicago. It's they take the 19-14 lead, and then they fail on the 2-point conversion there. Honestly, I was also impressed with guys like Christian Watson. Obviously, probably the most dynamic player in this game for Green Bay. 4 catches, 150 yards. I mean, he didn't score any touchdowns, but he was certainly a workhorse in that receiver room for Green Bay. Even with guys like Josh Jacobs, Romeo Doubs with a catch there as well. So you just saw a lot of guys contributing for this Green Bay offense. And then, of course, for me, the most impressive thing was the poise of Jordan Love and the resiliency of Jordan Love throughout this game. And obviously, at the end, when he punches it in for that late go-ahead touchdown, and then obviously they fail on the 2-point attempt. And then obviously the blocked field goal at the end where Caleb Williams, led the Bears down to set up a potential game-winning field goal, and then it gets blocked. So certainly a spicy way to finish that game, and this rivalry certainly lived up to its hype, Tad.
Yeah, this one it's definitely got a sting for the Chicago Bears. You haven't beaten your arch rivals since 2018. It just feels like it's gonna take like a divine act for Chicago to find a way to beat the Green Bay Packers at this point. It's just you did everything right in this game. You got back in the game. You got Caleb Williams looked very good on that drive that could have very easily been a game-winning drive to beat your rival in your first chance. A lot of big connections, had a big third down connection to Keenan Allen, some big plays to Rome Odunze, who's finally looking to get his footing in the NFL as a rookie there. I thought the Chicago Bears looked a lot better than we've seen in some previous weeks. It's just, in the end, you're one play away from winning this game against the Green Bay Packers, but in the end, that's all it is, and it's one play. And you just feel like how these games are going to end with the Bears and the Packers. Like, you just know that the Packers are going to find a way to beat the Bears.
Yeah, and it's frustrating for Bears fans. Isn't it?
Sure.
You empathize with them the most. It's like you want to get one of these things against your arch rival, quite literally. So, and you did everything right. It's very similar to Bo Nix in Kansas City last week, right? It's just same literal kind of situation, So, And what's even more of a bummer is all those Bears fans at Soldier Field that paid good money to see this game and had to witness that. So you really feel for them, especially.
And again, like you gotta think that they knew what was gonna happen. Like they've seen it happen. This is like the same old story against this team. I mean, the Packers. I mean, they have for basically the past decade, they've completely owned the Chicago Bears. I mean, we've seen Aaron Rodgers like with the whole "I own you, I own your city" stuff, and I mean, it's even after he's left. So far, it's continued. I mean, the Packers they just have a complete ownership of the Chicago Bears franchise, which is unfortunate in a rivalry series.
Talking about some of the defensive players for Chicago, some guys that kind of that have been standing out, and one guy that's kind of improved and even had a big tackle in a big moment, Tyreek Stevenson. Obviously, we know the moment that he had, but he came back. He's kind of been having to come back. 2 total tackles, a solo tackle, and a tackle for a loss. So Tyreek Stevenson is, again, a young developing cornerback still finding himself. For the Packers, you got guys like Xavier McKinney, Rashawn Gary, 3 solo tackles, a sack, and a tackle for a loss. Brenton Cox Jr., 2 solo, a sack, and a tackle for a loss. So some defensive players that really stood out in that game too.
Yes, definitely. A lot of good defensive performances on both sides for sure. Which is what you'd expect in a scrappy rivalry game like this one. So, yeah, a lot of good work done by the defenses as well.
Yeah, so let's see here. Yeah, so for the Packers, I believe they have a bye week. I believe these two teams have a bye. Oh, Chicago plays actually your Vikes next week, Chad. And yeah, so that's
play Minnesota, a division rivalry there, and the Green Bay Packers, they will play the San Francisco 49ers.
And yeah, Tad, Green Bay versus San Francisco. Where would you rank that rivalry amongst all-time NFL rivalries?
I mean, that's a pretty I mean, they've had some moments. I mean, they've had obviously the recent playoff history with Jimmy Garoppolo beating Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, which is like not something you'd expect, but it's just I mean, we've had some surprising performances in the playoffs with the Packers getting upset by the 49ers. We've seen it, like I said, with Garoppolo, with Colin Kaepernick at quarterback. So we've seen some playoff moments there. But all time historically, I mean, it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of spice in this rivalry like we've seen with like some of the other ones.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. Well, it'll be an interesting game there. So yeah, Packers win 20-19 on a blocked field goal at the end. So be sure to like, subscribe, and follow all season long. This is the Gridiron Glory.